The World Series championship team, the Boston Red Sox, were honored at the White House Thursday, but not everyone showed up, and I'll tell you the connection. Of course, the team's manager, Alex Cora, did not attend the ceremony after citing his frustration with the administration's efforts to help his native Puerto Rico recover from a devastating hurricane. Nearly a dozen members of the team, all players of color, skipped the opportunity to shake Trump's hand. Meanwhile, every white player on the team attended. Now, Tom Warner, the team's chairman, downplayed the no-show, saying it was each player's personal decision whether to attend, saying we don't see it as a racial divide. He said, I think to the extent we can, baseball is essentially, he said it's not political. Baseball's not political. And so they sure celebrated. They were celebrated hard when they got there. Maybe it got a little weird before, because take a look at this. When the White House's first press release about the visit came out, the Boston Globe noticed a little something wrong with the team name. It was spelled Red Sox, S-O-C-K-S, instead of Red Sox, S-O-X, of course. And it seems that having the latter sewn directly into the home uniforms wasn't enough of a helpful hint for this White House. So, and I think we have a picture, I think, of that press release. It's dead serious. And there's actually more. After realizing that mistake, the White House issued a second press release, but this one went foul as well. Do you get it? These are not my jokes. These are great, though.
They're okay, actually.
They're okay?
We can do better.
All right, so Trump's White House called them World Cup Series champions.
That's unbelievable.
Of course,
are there any Americans in the White House?
Noticed this too, right?
Okay, or have they all left the pitch? Because that's 2-0 on errors right now. World Cup Series?
Right.
World Cup Series. I mean, if a Democrat had said World Cup Series, they'd be laughed out of the planet.
They'd be called un-American, actually.
100%, that's right. You don't know how to spell Red Sox? You don't know how to spell Red Sox. I mean, do you live in America?
I want to know if he fed them, because baseball players are rich. You know what I mean? College players are broke.
Yeah.
Baseball players are like rich. Did he give them Big Macs?
Because that's what he does to all the college players.
Right,
That's right, yeah. So look, there's a serious issue and a non-serious issue here. The racial divide is real. I want to get back to that in a second. But continuing on the fun topic, look, it's just coincidentally, obviously we didn't know they were going to make this mistake this week. Just 2 days ago on Old School, another one of our shows. Become a member, get all of them, tyt.com/join. And seriously though, Ben, Michael and I were talking about, they never let little errors go if it's a Democrat. And we talked about how John Kerry had called Lambeau Field, Lambert Field, when he was running for president. And Fox News went nuts. Oh my God, I can't believe he would call it Lambert Field. He's not a real American, as Ramesh pointed out, and he's not an average guy. He's this rich elitist, etc. Meanwhile, Trump literally says at his rallies, I'm an elitist. He said that. He said, I'm part of the elite. I'm part of the elite. I don't know why they say I'm not part of the elite. And he brags about having $10 billion. Now, of course, it's a lie, and he's a buffoon who's lost a ton of money, but somehow, a guy who doesn't know how to spell Marine Corps, by the way, let alone every other word in the English language, and they misspell Red Sox and call the World Series World Cup Series, and it's just an amusing aside. I get it. It's a downpour of idiocy from Donald Trump, so which one do you focus on? But if a Democrat had done it, they would never, ever, ever let it go. They would have called Obama Kenyan if he called Red Sox, spelled Red Sox S-O-C-K-S. But really, it is stunning. Like, all you have had to ever do was read any paper or turn on any TV station ever in your life, right? You don't have to be a sports fan, you don't have to be a baseball fan to know that it's not spelled like the socks on your feet. That's unbelievable. Or you could have just looked at that, oh right, on their uniforms. The ones we invited to, they're the World Cup Series champions. Okay, anyway. Now onto the serious. Oh, by the way, that was not enough, because some people have these theories like, oh, they did that on purpose to distract, so you would talk about that. There's never any strategy. Remember that, because they did a third error. Now you're telling me this is an effort to distract? No, I'm surprised anybody picked it up. They referred to, they're from Boston, where they have great colleges, including MIT. And they referred to it as Massachusetts Institution of Technology.
Okay, awesome.
Okay, so they don't know anything about anything.
I went there actually, and it certainly is the Institute of Technology.
Yeah.
And our mascot's the beavers because we're engineers.
Yeah, I wonder how he's going to spell that. But the important thing is, go back to the racial divide.
Yeah.
Saying there is no racial divide when none of the minority players show up and all of the white players show up is just saying, I deny reality. It's alternative facts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Ortiz made a good point. So David Ortiz, legendary Red Sox player, SOX, okay. And he said, look, you don't want to go and shake hands with a guy who's treating immigrants like crap because I'm an immigrant.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So he's saying, like, when you go and meet with the guy and you're pleasant to the guy, and he's insulted immigrants like me over and over again, what are you saying about me and how you feel about me? But yet they all went, and I believe in solidarity as a team.
That's such a good point, just as a human. And I thought about that. We joked about the Baylor women's, the pictures, because they were funny. But I wonder, like, what would have happened had that coach said, you know what, I'm not even gonna put you through this. I don't think that you all, my team of women of color who've just busted their butts all season, should go and have to shake hands with somebody who's been so horrible to people who look like them. It just, how nice it would have been, especially, your manager, your coach, like, to just be like, okay, I'm gonna hear where he's coming from. And I get that the problem is that it always lies on the marginalized community. So you have to miss out on a trip to the White House, and everybody else gets to go because what do you say don't bother me? Like, do you know what I mean? Like and when it could have been like the Golden State Warriors who went and spent their time with the most legendary congressman ever, in Washington D.C. instead. That if these teams were to plan something bigger and better and not force their other teammates to have to miss out on something.
Yeah, I mean, the NBA is in a whole other sphere of advocacy and progressive politics, but I think it's really interesting and telling how, a president who in this case is pretty culturally illiterate when it comes to mainstream national pastime sport, why is it that the definition of pop culture and nationalism and just like American pie is somehow something that's usurped and owned by the Republican Party? And I think that's a real question that, those of us who are critical of issues in this country can still be patriotic.
Yeah, and lastly, I've said this before, but it's perfect for this situation. Governor Ann Richards used to joke about George W. Bush that he was born on third base and thought he hit a triple. And for Donald Trump, he's so stupid. He was born on third base and thought he kicked a field goal. And so that's exactly where we are right now in America. Yeah. On the go, don't worry, we got you covered. You can still listen to TYT at our new podcast network. Find us on Apple Podcasts, the Google Play Store, or at tyt.com/podcast.